The 2023 NBA trade deadline has officially come to an end, and what a crazy deadline we had this season. So many teams, so many rosters have been overhauled. It's going to be hard to keep up with and make new predictions to see what team is going to go farther in the playoffs. But wow, the balance of power in the NBA has just shifted back to the Western Conference. Every single team in the West is deciding to go for it, and that is going to make for an amazing playoffs this season. So I don't even know how the hell I'm supposed to recap everything that happened this trade deadline, but I have my notes. I have Woj, I have Shams. Let's try to get into this a little bit. So I want to start off with the first major trade that happened, and this technically isn't even a trade deadline trade, but Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. The Brooklyn Nets have officially agreed to trade Kyrie to the Dallas Mavericks, the team announced on Monday, February 6th. The Nets will receive Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a future draft pick, or future draft picks in the deal. So Brooklyn in this trade, even though this happened on Monday, I just wanted to get it out of the way first. Brooklyn receives Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2027 second round pick, a 2029 first round pick, unprotected, and a 2029 second round pick. And Dallas receives Kyrie and Markieff Morris. And the theme around this trade deadline is the second round pick. There was something like 40 second round picks traded. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why teams are valuing second round picks all of a sudden, but they must have been watching some Jokic highlights, because there's no other reason to value a second round pick as heavily as this trade deadline. But hey, it was crazy. I think for Dallas, acquiring Kyrie Irving is a little bit of a risk, because Dallas is trading away their best defender in Dorian Finney-Smith, and they're getting rid of Spencer Dinwiddie. I think this trade overall is a little bit of a desperation move from Dallas, but I don't think it's a make it or break it trade. I don't think even if Kyrie Irving were to leave Dallas in the offseason like he's able to, I don't think necessarily Dallas is all that angry about it. This seems more like a test for Luka in Dallas than anything else. I think the Mavs wanted to see how Luka would play with another superstar at his side, as Luka has had good teams around him, but definitely not necessarily title contenders. And I don't think Kyrie Irving in a swap for Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith necessarily pushes Dallas to championship level, but to see Luka play with another superstar and to just see where this goes, I feel like the risk is much lower than some NBA analysts have painted it out to be, because even if Kyrie leaves in the offseason, that leaves Dallas with some cap space so they can go get replacements for those two guys they sent away. And best case scenario, Dallas re-signs Kyrie Irving and Luka has a co-star for at least the next 4 years or so they can make a push for another star, or maybe even make a longer term decision about their future. So I am excited to see where this goes. I can't see Dallas making it to the finals. I think they're going to get knocked out, especially with the trades that came after the Kyrie Irving trade. But regardless, it'll be fun to see Kyrie and Luka play together. I'm interested to see how they coexist on the basketball court. And I don't think Dallas necessarily is taking as big of a risk as they're saying here. Okay, moving on. We have another major trade, another guy out of Brooklyn. Kevin Durant has been traded to the Phoenix Suns. The Suns are sending Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 first-round picks, a 2028 pick swap for Kevin Durant and TJ Warren. This has got to be the biggest trade of the trade deadline. The Phoenix Suns, it was no secret that last summer they tried to get Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant asked for a trade from Brooklyn and they did not trade him. They instead opted to hold on to Kevin Durant and let the season play out, but they acquire him here at the trade deadline. And I've got to say, for Phoenix, I think this trade pushes Phoenix up to championship contention. The Phoenix Suns managed to hold on to Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Cam Payne off the bench. Now they're adding Kevin Durant to the mix. I think the Phoenix Suns have a decent chance to make it to the NBA Finals. And I think the Suns could even win it all this season depending on the health of their players. Devin Booker's had a pretty disastrous season in terms of injury, but if he can get back and he can get healthy, with Kevin Durant, he's also out with injury right now, but if they can come back for a playoff push, I think the Suns are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the Western Conference, and I would not be surprised at all if they represented the West in the NBA Finals. Blockbuster trade for Phoenix, and that's a huge win, especially because Kevin Durant is re-signed on his contract for the next, I believe it's 3 or 4 seasons, so they have a window, and I just think that's a great trade for Phoenix. I'm excited to see how Kevin Durant plays. I think this team's going to be fun to watch. And next, we have the Lakers, making a lot of trades, overhauling their roster. Some people have compared this to 2018, when the Cavs completely overhauled their roster for LeBron and one last playoff push. So let's go over this trade. The Lakers, overall, they've made a number of trades to get some different pieces, so I'm just going to go over everybody they acquired. At the deadline, the Lakers have acquired D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt. Obviously, they got Rui, Devon Reed, and Mo Bamba. A 2024 Clippers second round pick and a 2025 Clippers second round pick in exchange for Russell Westbrook, Kendrick Nunn, Juan Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones, Thomas Bryant, Patrick Beverley, a 2027 first round pick, top 4 protected. The less favorable of 2028 Washington Lakers second round picks, and lastly, a 2029 Lakers second round pick. The Lakers got an entire roster overhaul over the course of this trade deadline, and I think this makes the Lakers incredibly better as a roster to fit around LeBron James. The Lakers, after 2 seasons, finally managed to trade Russell Westbrook, but the Russell Westbrook era in LA is finally over. This trade for Russell Westbrook back a couple seasons ago should have never been a trade. I thought that it was a bad idea from day one, and Lakers fans, now we finally see that it was a bad trade from day one. Russell Westbrook just did not fit with this team. He was actually playing pretty good this season, but it just doesn't fit. You can't have a guy like Russell Westbrook playing next to LeBron James when he can't shoot threes. The formula to play with LeBron James is very easy. Just surround him with guys who can shoot threes and defend. I mean, it sounds easier than it is, but I think the Lakers got marginally better in this trade. The new starting lineup is projected to be D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, LeBron, Jared Vanderbilt, AD. You're going to have Rui off the bench, Schroeder off the bench. I think this team is going to be much better post-trade deadline, and they might even make it into the playoffs. That's the hope. So, Lakers got much better, Suns got much better, the West is loading up for a bloodbath of a playoffs, and this is going to be a very exciting season. To quickly go over everything else that happened in the trade deadline, there's so many moves that I can't even have time to think about what this means for every single team. But the Bucks, they added Jay Crowder in a 3-team deal. The Lakers have also swapped Patrick Beverley for Mo Bamba, which I think I mentioned. The Warriors have traded James Wiseman to the Pistons. Remember, James Wiseman for the Warriors, he was supposed to be the franchise big man. He comes into the league, he gets hurt. He's been on the G League for most of the season. I just think you can't help but be disappointed in James Wiseman on the Warriors. It just didn't work out. Hopefully he can turn his career around on the Pistons. The Clippers have added Bones Highland from the Nuggets. The Warriors have also brought back swingman Gary Payton II. Sixers have traded Matisse Thybulle to the Blazers. Pelicans have added Josh Richardson, sent Devontae Graham to the Spurs. The Grizzlies, Rockets, and Clippers have agreed to a 3-team deal which will send John Wall back to the Rockets. That was probably the funniest report I've read all day. The Nuggets have added depth with Thomas Bryant. Raptors have officially added Jakob Poeltl back to their roster. The Celtics have acquired Mike Muscala from the Thunder. Darius Bazley is headed to the Suns. And the Hawks deal Holiday and Kaminsky to the Rockets. And lastly, you have Mason Plumlee headed to the Clippers. So that's a lot. I cannot possibly comment on every single one of those moves. I don't know what it means for all the teams, but All I do know is that I'm ready for this season to keep going. So it's been a crazy trade deadline. There's so many moves, I just can't keep up with them all. I'm excited to see where this season goes. Let me know in the comments. If you're a fan of one of these teams that have made a move at the deadline, let me know. Do you think your team got better? Do you wish your team had made more moves? I'm excited to see how this season plays out.